Now, before I open up for questions, I want to probably forewarn a question that will first be asked, and that's about impeachment. Impeachment is obviously extraordinarily serious, but I did want to start the conversation with the amount of work that is being passed literally as we speak on important priorities for Virginia. But we do know that yesterday the House of Representatives voted to impeach the president, formally charging him with 2 articles of impeachment. Now that the House has taken its vote, the process will move over to the Senate, where every senator, including myself, will serve as a juror in the president's trial. Let me be clear. My responsibility to the American people means I must do everything I can to make sure this trial is fair and honest. It means when I take an oath to say that I'll be an impartial juror, I have to reserve judgment until I hear the case that will be made by both those wanting to protect the president and those who want to prosecute the case. I know there's a lot of question about when the House is going to send the orders of impeachment over. I hope we'll all take a little bit of a deep breath. None of us expected this to take place until early January. My hope is that the majority leader and the minority leader can actually come to an agreement. The last time the Congress and the Senate was dealt with impeachment rules, literally the rules of the trial were agreed to by all 100 senators. We may not get a whole 100, but I sure do think we ought to try to strive to some level of majority agreement on the real rules that has some bipartisanship to it. There are relevant questions. I mean, one of the things that continues to bother me is, there are a series of individuals who are very close advisors with the president who were in the room when some of these accusations and some of this behavior took place. I don't understand why, if these individuals can exonerate the president, if they're willing to come in and take an oath and provide testimony, that we shouldn't want that testimony provided. We'll see what happens. I remain somewhat optimistic that the majority leader and minority leader can still reach some agreement, and that's what I'm hoping that will take place over these coming days, over the holidays. With that, I'm happy to open up for questions, and again, appreciate everybody tuning in or listening in or being part of this process today. So I'll open it up for questions.
Senator Warner, Chris Warren from Wavy TV. What do you think of Senator McConnell saying that he was going to take his cues from the attorneys for the president when it comes to how to proceed with the Senate trial?
I was very disappointed by Majority Leader McConnell's statements. We've gone back and I've reviewed, what happened in '99. It seemed to me that when you come over and have to take that oath individually, that you'll be impartial, that the seriousness, no matter how we got here, but the seriousness of this responsibility will take hold. So I hope Senator McConnell will rethink that as he takes that oath. I think just the very serious nature of these proceedings, everyone I've talked to who was there in '99 for the Clinton impeachment thought it was required that kind of solemnness and basic. This is not something that we should be doing often. This is something that should only be used in extreme cases. And I hope again that a little bit of the rhetoric on both sides will be tamped down, and one good sign or one good faith effort to show that Leader McConnell would want to run this trial in a fair way would be if he goes ahead and it meets Schumer, the minority leader's request, at least halfway. Let's figure out a way to make sure that we as jurors, and for that matter the American public, can get all the facts. And if the facts further condemn the president, that's one thing. If the facts further exonerate the president, that's another. But I don't know how anyone could be against having the American people and have the jurors involved get all the facts.
Senator Tom Fitzgerald from Fox 5.
Hey, Tom.
Along those lines, Senator, there's a big question right now whether we are going to have a trial next month. Would you support House Democrats not sending the articles to the Senate? And can you yourself now describe yourself as an impartial juror?
Well, I have said repeatedly that I will be an impartial juror. I have to keep an open mind. I obviously have spent a lot of time studying and investigating through my role on the Intelligence Committee some of the connections between Russia and the Trump campaign. These articles more focus on the question around the president's activities with the Ukrainians and the Ukrainian president. I believe I can bring an impartial approach to that. But what would be, I think, critical for me to hear is there were people in the room with the president, his closest advisors. They could exonerate, I imagine, the president if that's what happened. And it concerns me that they don't seem to, want to take that step. I know, for example, that former National Security Advisor John Bolton has signed a $2 million book deal. Got nothing. He's got that right to do a book deal, but we're all going to look a little silly if a year from now he comes out with a book that has relevant facts, either for the president or against the president, and we don't have that information when the Senate hears this case. I do believe, I still remain optimistic that the majority leader, minority leader can come to some agreement that we'll have this proceeding before us. But I do understand why the House is at least saying, let's see the rules before they name their managers, because you may name different people based upon the procedures that are laid out.